Welcome to another episode on Matrix Math. Today we're going to be looking at vector geometry, another really important and also just a really cool topic when it comes to doing stuff with matrices and vectors. So we're going to look at 2D vectors, but all the same stuff applies to 3D vectors as well. So it's just a matter of applying it with that one additional array if you're doing 3D. So the math is really all the same. Okay, so the important things of vector geometry. So we're looking at 2D ones. So let's say we have, it's a big circle. Let's make it way smaller. This should be good. So let's say we have a vector v, and we'll say, okay, so it's like element A and element B. So it'll look something like that. And let's do some addition and subtraction, and I'll basically just show you how it works. So let's say this is a 2, 4 vector. Now, the way we would do this is we map it out on a standard little graph. And when you're just looking at a vector like this, you assume the origin point is 0, 0. And then you plot it as usual, where this is the x and this is the y. So this would look a little something like, and I'm going to sort of ballpark this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'd go over 2 on the x and up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there would be the other point. And then from there, we can make our vector. So there's our vector v. And so it goes from 0 to 2, 4. There we go. And that's, of course, 0, 0. So one of the important things about this is the magnitude. You often want to know the length of this vector, and for reasons I'll explain as we get further along in the video. So if we're looking at magnitude, or the length, super important when you're doing programming, especially 3D stuff. You often just want to make a vector from one thing to another thing. And if you want to know how far away it is, you want to calculate the magnitude. So the magnitude, let me just get rid of that there. Did we talk about this last video? I feel like we did. Let me double check here. Yeah, we did. So the magnitude, of course, just as a refresher, it comes in the form of these two bars around the thing that signifies magnitude of v, and then you just take all these elements, square them, and take the square root. So last video we went over this. I don't think it has any views yet, but you know, such is the case. You basically square all these, and then you take the square root of it. So we'd get something like, okay, that's 4 plus 8. Let's see, there's a 4, there's an 8. So we'd get 12. We'd get square root of 12. And if you pop that into a calculator, 12 square root, it equals 3.46. So you can use that length of 3.46 to do any further calculations of length. Now what's cool about this is you can do a lot of stuff with multiple vectors and using just some basic addition, subtraction, and magnitude. So let me just show you that. I'm going to create a new layer here, and we'll hide that one we're on. We'll work on this new one. So let me just show you just a few examples here. And let's see, I'll do a graph in this bottom right corner. Let's make it look nice and, well, neat enough. And let's just say we have a couple different vectors. we'll say we have, we'll go with the standard of a u vector and a v vector. And u is going to equal, I don't know, we'll say, we'll give some kind of random but low numbers so we can have easy calculations. We'll go with a 2 and a -1. And v is going to be, let's go with a -2 and a 3. That should be good enough to give a little example. So we can plot both of these, always starting at this origin point of 0, 0, and we can make the 2, let's see, let's do some little notches. I might make this a little smaller. Little notches. We shouldn't need to go too far, no further than 4. Close enough. It doesn't need to be perfect. But it needs to be perfect enough. Alright, so u is going to be over 2 on the x-axis and down 1 on the y. So it's going to go to there. So that'll be u. And v is going to be -2 and then up 3. 1, 2, 3. So it's going to be there. So it'll look something like that. And there's v. And now, if you add these together, you end up with an in-between point. So it'll be somewhere around here. And to get that exactly, you just do the addition. So let's add them together. 2 and then a -2. We're going to get a 0 there on the x. And then a -1 plus 3 is going to be 2. So that's going to be u plus v equals that. And if we plot that, it's going to start at 0. It's not going to go over any on the x-axis. It's going to go up 2. So it's going to go about right there. So we're going to have just a straight up line that looks just like that. And yeah, that's going to be the result. You can't really see it on there. I could make it a different color, but being that it's 0, 2, it's just going to go, yes, it's going to be right on that y-axis, straight up. So as you can see, it's sort of a midway point. I mean, it's not a perfect midway point, but it's going to be somewhere in between if you're adding them together. And often it ends up, it can end up, yeah, just somewhere in between, just depends on the numbers. But where this gets a little cooler is when we do a minus. So if we do u minus v, then something else happens. Okay, and there's one other thing I want to show you too here, but okay, this is pretty cool because when you do u minus v, you end up with a vector that goes from the end of one of the points to the end of another point. So it looks a little something like this, and that completes a triangle. Now this is kind of an odd example because it's a very wide triangle. It would make a really oh, what's this? Obtuse, a very obtuse triangle. Okay, so let's minus these. 2 minus another 2 ends up being addition. So 2 minus minus 2 is 4, and then -1 minus 3 is -4. And what happens here is you start from the point of the one you minus from second to draw the line. So you start from the tip of the v here in this case, then you go over 4 and minus 4. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then minus 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we get to right here. So if we started from here and then got to here, we complete a triangle by just doing a u minus v and starting the new plot point of this 4, -4 from the v. And what you can start doing with this triangle is you can do all kinds of new geometry math. You can get any of these angles, you can get any of these lengths by, of course, just the magnitude of any of them is the length. And once you know at least 3 data points of either angles or lengths, you can start figuring out all the math. And I'll put a link below to some of that stuff, to a web page that explains all of that math and gets more into the triangle math. But I'm going to stay focused on vectors, so I'm not going to cover all that right here. But it's really important, and if you're programming or something, or you just need to know it for some kind of geometry class or a trigonometry class, it involves a lot of sine, cosine, Pythagorean theorem. So basically, if you have two vectors, you can start calculating anything about it using a triangle. And of course, that goes to other things, cool things too, like you can, well, it's a terrible circle, but you can take like the center point and you can do circles however you need to. You can do the inner area, which can often be nice for calculating collision and things like that. And yeah, you can just do a lot with it there. So those are the main things I wanted to show you. But there's also just one other thing I wanted to show you while we're here, and that's basically just some more things with magnitude. Well, I think we've covered enough with magnitude. You know how to do the magnitude, you know how to do the plus and minus, you know how to complete triangles. So based on that, and from the link below, and just some trigonometry stuff, you can do pretty much anything you need to do with just a couple vectors, and you can really work that in as needed. And I tend to think of things from a programmer's perspective, and this is kind of sort of how I'm going over it too. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope it taught you some things about vector geometry that might not have been clear otherwise, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Don't forget to smash the like button. That helps with the YouTube algorithm. Really helps my channel out. I'm still looking to grow and get better. If you have any tips or comments, please leave them below. I'll try to respond to everything I can. Hope you guys have a great day. It's Friday here, and don't forget to hit subscribe and the bell if you want to see when I come out with new videos. I do coding rants, I do a lot of tutorials, and let me know what else you'd like to see too. Alright guys, take care of yourselves out there. Peace out.